Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I am Hamza Idris. Kano, the leading northern Nigerian commercial city, is also known for its vibrant polity that is dynamic and evolving. It is also an entertainment hub of the region with active social media content creators and followers. The state was recently trending following a public backlash to the comment made by the state governor Abba Kabiru Yusuf over the activities of the state agency fighting immoral acts, the Hisbah, leading to the sudden resignation of its commander general, the Rebat Sheikh Aminu Daurawa. This development was said to have some connections with the alleged arrest and detention of a controversial TikToker, Murja Kunya. While the dust generated by the governor's comment settles with the reconciliation and subsequent return of the Kano Hisbah boss, on the political scene, the return of the APC governorship candidate in the last election, Nasiru Gawuna, and a strong opposition voice in the state appeared to have unsettled the political landscape once again, especially in the face of rumored plans to tinker with the architecture of the current traditional institution installed by the previous administration in the state. It is against this backdrop we'll be interfacing with Dr. Aminu Hayatu, a public affairs and political analyst. He's also a senior lecturer in the Department of Political Science, Bayero University, Kano, on the impact of the socio-political development on the commercial city of Kano and its political trajectory. Doctor, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And how is the heat in Kano?
Well, the heat is all over northern Nigeria. All
Yes.
the states are just something else. But
Yes, and we pray for the best. Yes, thank you once again for joining us via Zoom. But before the conversation, here are some tidbits. The Edo State House of Assembly on Wednesday commenced impeachment proceedings against the state deputy governor, Philip Shaibu. The majority leader, Charity Aigobagian, who announced the impeachment notice during plenary, said the petition dated March 5 was signed by 21 out of the 24 members against the deputy governor. Aigobagian stated that the petition against the deputy governor came in as stated on March 5 and was signed by almost all the members with the exception of 3. The numbers of members who signed the petition was more than the 2/3 requirement stipulated in the Nigerian constitution. The speaker also said that the petition was based on 2 grounds: perjury and revealing of government secrets. And on a sad note, suspected members of the Boko Haram have razed down at least 25 newly constructed buildings meant for the returnees in the local government area of Borno State. Amidst the heat of the insurgency, the residents fled their homes and took cover as internally displaced persons for many years. However, days after abducting IDPs who went into the forest to fetch firewood, insurgents stormed the remote village of Ngajibo, shooting sporadically and burning more than 25 newly houses meant for the relocation of the IDPs. We'll now take a short break, and when we return, our conversation with Dr. from Kano commences. Don't go away. Yes, welcome back once again. Dr. Hayatu, welcome to Daily Politics, and thank you for joining us via Zoom from Kano. You had the tidbits. The first one is from Edo State. Deputy Governor about to be impeached for alleged perjury and revealing government secrets. Could that be correct? Because I know you've been following the political dynamics in Edo State.
Once again, thank you for having me. Actually, that development has really come as a surprise because looking at the political trajectory in the state and indeed other states across the north, it is actually something that many people are still waiting to see and understand the development in that respect, because the allegations, started long ago and had simmered through the political space in that state. But a number of people didn't take it serious until when the members of the state legislature have started their moves of impeachment, and motion was moved on the floor for the impeachment bill based on these allegations. But, you know, in politics, it's not just easy to have someone like a deputy governor or even a governor, you know, unseated, you know, from his position, unless when the allegations are clear against him and have been proven. Otherwise, there will be a lot of back and forth. You remember what happened, you know, in Zamfara State when similar motion was moved against the deputy governor, and he was unseated. Actually, the allegations are not the same, and allegations of such are very difficult to prove, and it will go a long way in having them succeed, unless if there is some great level of support from the governor. There are a lot of insinuations that the governor is behind that because of their disagreement on so many issues and because of the firm position that the deputy governor holds against certain positions of the governor. In any case, I mean, it has always been in Nigeria, when you see, you know, a case of, you know, moving to unseat a deputy governor, it has always got a great deal of connection with the governor's influence in that respect. So,
and as you rightly said, yes, as you rightly said, Dr. Hayatu, you know, they're just coming out from the primaries ahead of election, which is coming up in September. This governor is rounding up his tenure. The deputy governor insisted on being on the ballot, you know, for the primaries. Of course, he was defeated in court. Now he said he's going, I mean, in the ballot during the primaries, but he's now going to court. So they want to remove him, allegedly. As you said, why is it easy for members of the State Assembly to always toe the path of what the governor said? Because as you suggested, we are all, of course, making inference to what is obvious there. More than 3/4 of them, because only 3 did not append their signature. It means very likely this man will go. Or you think the tide will be in his favor?
Yeah, actually, you know, it's a norm. It has become a norm in Nigerian politics, especially looking at the influence of the governor. Most in many states, most of the members of the state legislature used to either be handpicked by the governor or had one kind of influence or the other in their emergence as members of the state assembly. And this goes down to the lane of democratic politics within political parties.
Yes, hello. Hello?
It has always been an issue that
Hello?
you know.
Okay, yeah, doctor. Can you hear me?
Because of that,
okay,
by the time as the state legislators, they normally toe the line of the governor, and that's expected because they are sponsored by the governor. As it's always been the case, whether openly or in hiding, but he will toe the line of the governor, and depending on what his interest, where his interest is, against, of course, the interest of the deputy.
All right. I hope the program permits us to come back to this towards the end, because you know, similar situation happening in Jigawa this evening, and then you know, the Plateau.
And you know, the deputy governor.
I hope we get time. Now, our second tidbit is on the unfortunate incident in Dikwa area of Borno State, where you know, 25 houses were burnt. These houses were meant for the IDPs, but the saddest part was on Sunday. You know, terrorists abducted over 100 women and children in Gambaru Ngala local government area of the state. But we only got to know of the story yesterday, and it was only Daily Trust that carried that report. What is your take on resurgence of activities of terrorists and other non-state actors, especially in the northeastern part of the country?
Well, you know, as we've always had the issue of insurgency very serious, especially that one of Boko Haram and ISWAP, because these are, organizations that have foreign connections. So it's not easy to just say that because the war, against them has succeeded to some extent, it means that they have been eliminated. These are vast areas where they operate, and it's only a matter of time they resurge, after they may have recovered from the loss. And you will recall that the history of the attack, the guerrilla attack by Boko Haram and ISOP has always been that, when they face friction, with the government, they retreat, in order to go and reset their tactics and strategies and then come back to attack again. We've seen that in a number of times. I could recall that many analysts, the time when the Borno State governor wanted to resettle these internally displaced persons in their ancestral homes, he was advised that it was too early, to take that decision because the Boko Haram and the ISWAP were still very much around. And you can see that, even the IDPs, in these local governments that have been for quite some time been very peaceful, where it was only a matter of time. Definitely Boko Haram and ISWAP have always put these IDPs as soft targets because they are vulnerable and they are not well protected. And the attention of government security mercenaries now. And when the attention moved away from Boko Haram because the tension has doused down, most of these security forces, including the military and the joint operations, were moved to the northwest where kidnapping and banditry was on the rise. And because of this, the fewer presence of the security agencies in that axis has actually given way for Boko Haram to actually bounce back and come back with fresh attacks.
Especially, you can see some analysts believe that that vast area along the Lake Chad is not really being policed yet. As you rightly said, attention has moved to north central and northwest where you have banditry activity. Now, can we say this is a reminder to the unfortunate incident that happened on April 14, 2014, exactly or nearly 10 years now, because we are now in March, just few days to April, when 260 something girls were abducted from Chibok. Now we have 113 that are missing.
Yes, exactly. This has been the fear of many security analysts because that large ungoverned space that is in the northeast is actually an area where there's still the presence of... Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, I'm with you, Prof. Yes, continue.
Okay, so that's an area where Boko Haram and ISWAP are still having...
Yeah.
Boko Haram and ISWAP are still having their field day. So it is not something, easy to say that they have, and that now everyone is at peace. What we saw, exactly some few days back is really a wake-up call for the government to understand that there's the need for even intelligence report, on the ISWAP and Boko Haram, because, intermittently and exchangeably, they stage attacks. There are many unreported attacks, that actually happen in many of these hinterland local governments that are not even known to the public. This one is because of the scale, of the number of people that
exactly, and it is actually only the Daily Trust that
the attention.
It was actually the Daily Trust that actually reported this. Most media houses are trying to recover, and that brings me to the last question on this before we move to Kano. Don't you think there is maybe conspiracy of silence in government quarters? Because the military, for instance, yesterday we did all what we could for them to speak on this. Nobody said anything. We even tried the Borno State government, nothing from there. Only community leaders who actually open up, and many of them, they even spoke in confidence. They don't want us to quote their names, but this thing has happened. So what do you think government must do to face reality in Nigeria, whereby if things happen, they have to be accountable. They have to come out and say it so that those who are at fault will be called to book?
Yes, actually, it's a question of accountability. And, it has always been the problem. That is why, people accuse the government many a times of conspiracy. When the public lives are put in danger and on the line, and where people lose their lives, means of livelihood, and displacement of women and young communities and so on. It has always been a culture of silence from the part of the government. And as long as, the government, who is saddled with the responsibility of protecting the civilian populace, wouldn't come out, to take, responsibility for, because it doesn't matter and get people killed or displaced. It is a responsibility of the government, who is supposed to protect the people, to come out and at least, acknowledge that such attacks have happened, and this is the condition of the issue, and this is what the government is doing. But once there is silence, people will begin to suspect that the government does not either care, or it has really continued happening. And in terms of political will, any government, that does not discharge its responsibilities properly, it loses the moral higher ground, or the so-called.
Hello? Yeah, go ahead, doctor. Of course, we're having little challenges with the connectivity. Yeah, we'll take a short break, and when we return, the program continues. Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. We've been interfacing via Zoom with Dr. Hayatu, a public affairs analyst from Bayero University, Kano. And we are now going to dwell fully on Kano. Yes, Doctor, welcome back, and sorry for the internet glitch.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yes. Now, Kano is always an interesting place. The recent happenings, the resignation of Sheikh Daurawa on Friday, and then he came back on 2 or 3 days after. What is really happening, Doctor? And what is your take on these issues?
Well, Kano politics is always very interesting. It gets more interesting, when, things happen. Everything is politicized in Kano. But the resignation of Aminu Daurawa, I think, it was as a result of the statement that was released to the ulama in Kano, of his complaint about the way and manner in which the Hisbah conduct itself. against the people in Kano. And both, in my opinion, both the governor and Aminu Daura were right in their decisions. The governor was right because he was directing his speech, on the issue of the abuse of human rights, which is a very serious thing and crucial in a democratic environment. And he had to call the attention, of the Hisbah. Of course, politicians will see that, as a statement that was maybe right, but in a wrong place. Because Kano is very sensitive about religion, and as long as those issues the governor talked about were concerning religion, the people did not take it lightly, and that was why Sheikh Aminu Daurawa, who felt that the governor could have invited him and to speak about whatever grievances he had with the Hisbah, so that they could thrash that out, shouldn't have come out to make it a public statement. And if Aminu Daurawa hadn't resigned, there could have been an allegation against him that he wanted to retain the seat of power in Hisbah, and he didn't want to do the right thing. And the governor also had to talk about what it is supposed to be right for the Hisbah, on the part of the Hisbah, so that he's not seen as compromising his position as the governor, who is supposed to protect the interests of the people first. And so both positions were right. But in Kano, because of the tense nature of politics, the opposition, the NNPP, the APC that is in opposition in Kano, yes, was actually waiting, right outside the door for any mistake to be committed by either the governor himself or any member of his cabinet, so that they could, bounce back and take advantage. And that's actually why, Gawuna, who was in Abuja, had to, quickly fly to Kano. And you saw the kind of reception he got simply because, the governor had sort of fumbled. But in any case, it was in the good interest of the people of Kano that all that was happening, because the silence, if there is going to be a silence, between the people in different levels of people in authority, it means that all will not be meant well for the people. So it is always good that such things happen. And the governor himself had realized that, upon the calls of people, the governor realized that it was a mistake for him to have gone to the public to discuss about such, but not because they were not real issues that are bordering, on governance in the state. Aminu Daurawa, many of them thought that he was too quick to take the decision to resign. But for us, we believe that that was the only thing he had to do to save his image and his integrity as a sheikh, as a reputable sheikh in Kano, rather than just remaining on the seat despite the condemnation by the governor. And if you observe the governor's statement, it was not actually directly hitting at the governor, but because the governor wasn't diplomatic in his statement, it appeared as if it was because Sheikh Aminu Daurawa had arrested the Murja Kunya.
Yes, is it famous or infamous Murja? Yes, because that's what I wanted to ask you. What is the connection of the governor with this young woman, Murja? Is it that he has soft spot for her?
No, definitely no one can say this, because it is normal in politics, for anybody who is sympathetic to a particular political party or a candidate, to play a vital role, in the process of politicking. That is what Murja Kunya did. And Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf is not the only member of the NNPP. He's not the only, contestant under the banner of NNPP. But because she had made statements that showed her, remorse towards the governor, people actually quickly jumped into conclusion to say that the governor has to have something with her, but I don't think it must be the case. And in a state where there is tension in their politics, a state like Kano, the opposition will play a big role, in spreading the rumor that the governor had to do has something to do with it. But even Sheikh Aminu Daurawa himself has opened up to say the governor has never reached him, on any case, on anybody. He has never interfered with his business of leading the Hisbah. And that is enough, as a bare evidence to say that the governor may not have connection with that. But as people play into politics and take advantage of certain things, And the controversial issue about Murja Kunya, her being arrested by the Hisbah and taken, to the court and then subsequently to the prison, was actually something that came at a time when the people needed answers to certain questions, because all of a sudden she disappeared, from the custody of the prisons, and nobody had any explanation. Nobody knew about her whereabouts until later, when when the dust doused down, and people got the explanation.
Exactly, and that is why some people.
In any case,
yes,
that's how.
That's why some people are saying there is more than meets the eye, considering the way she was arrested earlier, then taken to court, then prison. But before she was released from the prison. It was after public outcry that some people came out and said no, they wanted to actually check, is it her mental state or something like that.
Now, there is no doubt. There is no doubt to say that even if she doesn't have,
is now determining
even if
the way
her eventual disappearance, had got nothing to do with the governor directly, but it may have something to do with some politicians' apologies operate. They can go out of their way, to do certain things or take certain decisions without having to involve the governor. They could use body language, to be able to carry out some activities that might be suspected as being influenced by the governor. But it is obvious that it was reported that the governor saw the video where the Hisbah officials were actually on rampage in a particular settlement, and packing people and beating them and putting them in the truck. That was quite sufficient to call for anyone's attention, on the nature of the abuse and violations of human rights that are involved. And there is nothing wrong if the governor comes out to talk about that. Only that the time, the timing of the speech was what actually resulted in the resignation of the Hisbah commander and the eventual things that followed.
Okay, but will this fizzle out in nearest future, considering that when he returned, that's Sheikh Daurawa, he gave timeline that they should either reform or leave the state. Do you think some of these entertainers, the likes of Murja and others, they will leave Kano for Sheikh Daurawa and other people? Or you see another round of fight between Hisbah and government authorities?
No, actually, this antecedent has actually gave Sheikh Daurawa the opportunity to emerge even stronger, on his position as the commander of the Hisbah in Kano, because at least now every quarter of the government, whether the governor or anybody within the government cycle, will try to avoid influencing anything concerning Hisbah, because all eyes are on the Hisbah and all eyes are on the government. So Daurawa will have his field, to take decisions and of course to lay out more rules and regulations, for the social media participants and influencers. But it is important to say that Yes, even though Daurawa had given, 2 weeks ultimatum for anybody who wants to repent and so on, he was caught, saying that this is for people who have, the feeling that they are at a disadvantage because their problems and they repent. But definitely it's going to the clash between the TikTokers and the other social media people will continue in Kano because many boys and girls that have left their states from surrounding Gombe, Jos, in Kano. And so it's, players and TikTokers. So the Hisbah will have to battle a lot with those people because it hasn't got, if you are talking about Kano, you are talking about a state with 44 local governments, the most populous state in Nigeria. And, there is some level of stubbornness, in the cadre of young people in the state. So it's going to be battling with a lot of things, but many of them are going to be scared away from Kano, as it has happened in the past. And I think that Sheikh Aminu Daurawa and his team will need to have to be a little bit more careful in the way that they handle, the affairs of young people, because many of them are in their juvenile stage and they cannot be expected, to act or think like full adults who are very responsible in Kano. So Daurawa would have to play the game with a lot of diplomacy, of course, a mixture of carrot and stick for him to be able to get the job well done. And I'm not sure I'm not sure if anybody's influence, can actually affect Daurawa's performance. But he just needs to be a little bit diplomatic, and I think that is the man he is, especially with the happening between him and the governor. I'm sure he must have been cautioned on a number of things, the way, the modus operandi of the Hisbah and the nature and manner in which they carry out their activities. But there is going to be, some level of fear in the political space in Kano because
yes, Dr. Aminu, as an academic, what is your take on
knows
even
that,
the operations of these TikTokers and other social media influencers in Kano, and by extension maybe Jigawa, Katsina, and the North at large, in terms of attitude, moral values, and activities of young people and the society in general?
Yes, Kano State is still, operating within the framework of the Sharia and cultural laws. You know about the ban on alcohol, and so on. So also, in terms of the activities of TikTokers, they really need to, situate themselves, and immerse themselves in the heritage and culture of, the Muslim and Northern values, which is operational in Kano. And because they, as much as they reserve the right, to do what they want to do, it has to be, within the framework of acceptable, behaviors in the political space in Kano. This is the basis upon which many of them were taken to court by the Hisbah Commission, because there are laws governing, the proper conduct of people's operation in that territory. So young people need to be, sensitized. They need to be made aware, of the legal implications of some of these attitudes. It is not right for anyone despite having the right to operate, the freedom, to operate, to come to social media and insult other people's personality, and make claims and, appear in a way that is defiance of the culture and morality of the people, in that territorial area. In others, there are other states in southern Nigeria where these things are not issues. People move about, they dress the way they want to dress and so on. But because of the codes, Islamic Sharia codes in northern Nigeria, states that are determined to enforce those, legal sanctions have the right to do that. And the social media influencers and TikTokers in general really need to be made aware of what they can do and what actually is not within their right to do, so that there is some level of sanity in the polity in Kano and indeed other states in northern Nigeria. Because you remember recently, many, some states in northern Nigeria had visited Hisbah, including Jigawa and some part of Kaduna from Sabon Gari Zaria, to visited Daurawa and seek his blessing, and intervention to also set up their own Hisbah, boards in their states. This is an indication that this will not be tolerated, even in some other states that would have brought Hisbah, on board. So it is for the rights of the people, the rights of everyone that is existing as a human being must be respected, and their freedoms must be assured. But as much as that is guaranteed, they also, need to understand that they have to respect the rights of other people in terms of culture, religion, and other moral values in the places where they are staying.
Okay, it is in the middle. It was in the middle of this social and moral debate that Governor introduced the political perspective to the whole thing when he stormed Kano. Can we say he made a big bang, on landing in Kano? And has it changed anything?
Yes, it has actually affected. I think I spoke in one of the one of the media outlets even before, Gauna came. I analyzed and said that the speech by Abba Kabir Yusuf is, the reluctance, of his government, even when Murja was found missing, in the prison, and the eventual, activities that followed. I said that it is going to affect his own political reputation. I said he's going to affect his own integrity, because he's a governor, and I have read this about him, that is really sensitive, on his integrity, as a politician. So for Gauna to come at that time is only to take advantage of the political blunder that has happened within the ranks of the NNPP between the governor and the Hisbah commander. But eventually, many people, we have seen many young people announcing their resignation from the NNPP and their followership of Konkosia movement and their support for Abba, because he has made a speech that led to the resignation of Sheikh Aminu Daurawa. So the APC really, as an opposition, wanted to take that advantage, and it did. And you saw the number of people that came out and welcomed the governor's arrival from Abuja. But the damage control, there is an eventual damage control, which happened immediately with the reconciliation moves, that happened and led to the, return of Daurawa to his own seat. So I think it would have made a lot of damage if the reconciliation hadn't made between the two of them. But now that there is the reconciliation on ground, and there is, a tremendous effort by the governor in continuing with his business governance and doing activities, as usual, I think it will continue to place him on the advantage position, and he would be more careful in his utterances concerning issues that border on public sensitivities and interests.
But do you think the former deputy governor, Gawuna, will have acted differently if he were, in the position of Abba Kabir Yusuf?
No, I think, they are two different people, Gawuna would have been, in fact, Sheikh Aminu Daurawa would not have been in place if Gawuna is the governor. Because, Gawuna, even when he was governor of Kano State, when he was deputy governor in Kano State, he was known to be a soft-minded person. And many have interpreted him to be as such, and even predicted that even if he had become the governor of Kano State, he would have been, he's a soft person and may not be leadership responsibilities. So if it were Gawuna, I don't think all the antecedents that led to the speech of the governor would even have happened in the first place, because it would have been a different thing. And I'm of the opinion that the social media, people and the TikTokers would have had a better field to play than what they're experiencing under Daurawa's leadership in Hisbah.
Yes, Doctor, if you look at our back page of Monday, the columnist, our former deputy editor-in-chief, Suleiman, he did an intriguing write-up where he said, Kano versus Lagos. And he juxtaposed what happened within that time. In Kano, it was politics, moral issues, social disconnection, and all that. While in Lagos, they were commissioning rail tracks, multi-billion-dollar railway projects. And he said, what is really happening to the Kano of pre-1999? Because before 1999, you have more companies in Kano than you had in Lagos. But now, Kano is just joking of sorts. So where is actually the problem?
I think it's more of a general issue affecting the North than particularly Kano alone. These Lagos and Kano are no doubt the two giant states that we have in the North and in the South. But, even historically, you cannot compare, their level of development and progress. And the decay, the economic decay that Kano has experienced has been there for a very long time. The Sharada Industrial Estate and other industrial estates in Kano were actually functioning very well. But since pre-1999 up to 1999, during the Obasanjo regime, a lot of politics played out and had put northern Nigeria at a disadvantaged position, leading to the shutdown of many of these economic hubs in Kano. And unfortunately, the leadership in northern Nigeria is not the same thing as the leadership that we see in southern Nigeria. Southern Nigeria is more committed, is more organized, is more patriotic, and is more determined, to take their people to higher levels. The leadership in northern Nigeria is one that does not care about the plight of the people, is one that is not organized, is one that does not remain committed, resolutely committed, in bringing back at least the past glory, not even building over what has been there in the past. And I have always said this is the issue that is affecting not only Kano, but northern Nigeria in general. If you look at it, there are no industries in northern Nigeria, no economic activities are happening. There are more impoverished people in many states in northern Nigeria than anywhere else. There are more employed youths and there are more Kano has a population. The only advantage it is taking is from the commercial activities that are actually happening, and which is just giving a cushioning effect to the economic, downturn that is affecting the lives of people in Kano. Otherwise, there isn't much difference from what the government of Abba Kabir Yusuf has inherited. And I think I have mentioned this when at the onset when Abba Kabir Yusuf became the governor, and I saw him, waiving tax, 30% for, small scale people and artisans. And I said that this is not the direction of an economy that wants to grow.
Okay.
Strong positions have to be made, serious decisions have to be taken that are not going to romance, that are not going to massage the people, especially the business people. The Abba Kabir's regime is one that is more of a welfarist regime than a capitalist-driven, administration that seeks to look out for, opportunities to either invite investors to the state or, revamp economic activities in a way that it will affect the economic status of the people of Kano State.
And
but you can see that there are roads, creation of bridges and so on.
Yes,
but this is not something that
article we published on Monday is talking about maybe the readiness of the two leaders. For instance, Sanwo-Olu in Lagos and then Abba Kabiru Yusuf in Kano. He's trying to compare them that, okay, Kano should lead the battle from the north in terms of economic revitalization, but it appears it is really, really lagging behind. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that because the nature of politics in Kano is different from the nature of politics in Lagos. Okay. In Lagos, people campaign based on, the programs and policies that they have for the people, economic programs. Indeed, in other states in northern Nigeria, if anyone attempts to campaign with the issues, rather than political sentiments, they are sure that they not make it to the seat. That's why into the sentiments of particular position, what they would want to know is, what is your position on the religious matters? What is your position on other sensitivities, as against, economic development and progress? So if, the citizens and the indigents of these states are not asking questions, economically, in terms of the way that the life of the people will be improved, definitely the result they would get is these issues. The issue of Murja Kunya couldn't have been an issue in Lagos, but economic problem would be an issue in Lagos.
Yeah.
So you can see that if Abba Kabir Yusuf, for example, decides to take the bull by its horn, to say that I don't care about what people think, I'm going to develop them economically, even if their sensitivities are in religion, even if their sensitivities are in other things that are not, they do not have dimension in the economy, he's not going to go for the second term. He knows that, and politicians know that in the north. So they tend to play, and this has its roots in the ignorance that majority of the population, you can't ask a beggar. Beggars do go to the polling unit, so if you say that I'm not going to encourage begging, what you are saying is that you are asking people not to vote you into power. So these are two different states with the different contexts, conditions, historical antecedents, and political circumstances, surrounding them. And it's going to take a long time if care is not taken, for the North and Kano indeed to come out of this, dilemma, because it has already eaten deep into the fabric of our polity, into the fabric of our society, into the fabric of everything we do in our daily lives. And unless some sort of, permit me to say, divine intervention would turn things around and make people understand in northern Nigeria what they should prioritize, for what they should expect their leaders to prioritize in governance.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Aminu Hayatu. I wish we have more time to discuss more issues in Kano, especially the election that has not been held for local government, the issue of the traditional institution. But surely we will invite you again to have your take on these very important issues. We thank you for joining us via Zoom from Kano.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it too. Thank you.
And viewers, we've been interfacing with Dr. Aminu Hayatu from the Political Science Department, Bayero University, Kano, on politics in Kano, and of course, many issues bothering the North. We hope you found the conversation engaging and informative, and be sure to join Dolly Politics every weekday and our special package on Friday, during which we open our telephone line for you to comment on national issues. For now, bye-bye. From here, I'm Hamza Idris. See you tomorrow.